Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. You may remember a video that I published back in May of 2020 where I showed you how to make an anti-aging under eye cream night cream. Today I'm going to be remaking that video for a couple different reasons. The first reason is I had to remove that original video off of my YouTube channel because I found myself on the other side of a trademark infringement claim, which I will talk about a little bit in this video, but I'm going to go more in depth in a second video this week just regarding what that was all about. So the second reason I am remaking this video today is because you guys had a lot of good questions about substitutions and different things you could add to this cream from the original recipe. Now, the original recipe is still published on my Patreon campaign. However, it is now published under a different name. So if you're over there looking for the original recipe, it is now called Anti-Aging Eye Cream Night Cream. So we are going to be redoing that today, or just taking another spin on that original recipe just to show you some new ideas I had with it and just to answer some of those commonly asked questions that you guys gave me. And you will also be able to access the new recipe on my Patreon campaign as well, so you can take a look at both of them and make both of them or either one of them. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a full visual tutorial and process of how to make this beautiful anti-aging cream that is specifically designed for fine lines, wrinkles, skin tone, and texture. So if you would like the full written recipe plus a full written detailed tutorial with percentages, please head on over to my Patreon campaign where you can unlock this recipe for just one small $5 pledge. In fact, you can still get all of my recipes that have been published for the last about 2.5 years now for just that same $5 pledge. All right, let's make some anti-aging night cream. All right, before we get started, it's important to note that everything has been sanitized down with a 5% bleach and water solution, and the best way to do that is to just fill your sink or a bucket with warm water and some bleach, and then get a nice clean rag, a lint-free rag, and just wipe everything down that's going to come into contact with your product, including scales, spatulas, containers that you're going to be storing your finished product in, and all of that. Also, it's important when you're making any type of cosmetic to wear gloves and to keep your hair tied back. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is start weighing out the ingredients that are going to go into the heated phase of this recipe. In all creams, lotions, etc. that have an oil and water emulsion, you have a heated phase and a cool down phase. And so we are going to be weighing out all the heated phase ingredients first. So the first thing I did, I just weighed off some purified water into this container. This container will eventually hold all of the heated phase ingredients, so you want to make sure it's big enough to hold all of the whole recipe. So then I'm just going to set this aside for now, and then I'm going to go ahead and weigh off the other heated phase ingredients, and that includes shea butter. So this is what was in the original recipe. The water content remains the same in this recipe as the original recipe, and the amount of shea butter and other ingredients remain the same. So I will be explaining that to you in a little bit more detail here, but we're going to go ahead and weigh off the shea butter. Shea butter is so good for mature or aging skin, great for wrinkles and fine lines because it's got a ton of moisturizing properties to it and a lot of healing properties to it. Okay. And then we are also using mango butter. Mango butter is a bit drier than shea butter. And the mango butter we are also using at the same rate that we used it in the original recipe. And this is also very good for fine lines, wrinkles, and it's got antioxidant properties to it. You could swap this out for cocoa butter. I get that question a lot. I just really like the feel of the mango butter. And these ingredients are easy to come by as well, fairly inexpensive and very effective. Okay. So to our butters, we're going to be adding in some jojoba oil. Now, in the original recipe, I used a light carrier oil that was infused with calendula. I used sweet almond oil, which is a really inexpensive and easy oil to get a hold of, and also very good for skincare and for anti-aging. So today we're going to be using jojoba oil. This is a little bit more of an upscale ingredient, and it is very, very close to your own skin makeup, your own skin sebum. It has a very lightweight kind of also barrier feel to it, as well as being lightweight. So it's not real heavy on the skin. It kind of sits on top of the skin, and it feels very light and airy. And it is a great oil to add to your facial creams. So we are using a little bit of jojoba oil. And then we are going to be adding in some cetyl alcohol. Now, cetyl alcohol, in the original recipe, I used stearic acid. They are different, even though they do have some similar properties. They can't always be interchangeable. In this recipe, we are using cetyl alcohol instead of stearic acid. And that is because I wanted to give this cream just a very luxurious skin feel. And cetyl alcohol is very silky. It absorbs fast. It reduces the amount of white streaking that you can get in your creams and lotions. And it's a fatty alcohol. It just feels amazing in your skincare products. The stearic acid is very good at thickening and also good at, it has conditioning properties in it. The stearic acid is going to give you thickness as well as that beautiful silky skin feel. Okay. So I get this question a lot regarding this cream about using the cetyl alcohol. So I am going to show you that it can be done here. We are not using it at the same rate, however, as the stearic acid, because this is such a good thickener, you don't need as much. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be adding in our emulsifier. Now, the emulsifier is the ingredient that makes the lotion, the cream, actually combine and turn itself into cream or lotion. So oils and waters, if you think about salad dressing, the oils and waters don't combine unless you shake it up really well, and then they eventually come back apart. The emulsifier, when you're adding water and oils together, is what binds the two together and keeps them at a homogeneous emulsion. So there's all types of emulsifiers. In the original recipe, we used regular emulsifying wax, NF, just the generic brand, which works great as well, and it's very inexpensive. In today's recipe, we're going to be using ritamulse SCG. This is a very good emulsifier. You don't have to add a co-emulsifier to it. And the reason I'm changing to this one is because you guys asked me a lot about using different types of emulsifiers in this recipe. You can use any type of complete emulsifier, meaning one that doesn't need or require a secondary emulsifier. So this one I'm using because it has cetyl alcohol in it, which is very, very skin loving. It kind of gives it a beautiful whippy kind of texture. And this is also very good at thickening, and it has a very good skin feel in your creams and lotions. So we're going to be using ritamulse SCG emulsifying wax. Of course, you could use Polo wax, regular emulsifying wax, NF, and other things if you like. So this is not being used at the same rate, however, as the emulsifying wax I used in the original recipe, because again, it is a great thickener and a really strong emulsifier. It doesn't take a lot to get a good texture, and if you add too much, your cream could get too thick. And we're going for a nice thick night cream consistency, but we definitely want it to be easy to spread onto the skin. All right, so that does it for my heated phase ingredients. So what we need to do now is get everything melted down, and we also need to get this water boiling for a few minutes to just make sure that everything is very clean and sterile. So I'll bring you back when everything is melted down and thoroughly heated through, and we're ready for the next step. Okay, everything has been warmed up and thoroughly melted down, so we're ready to go ahead and combine our oil and water phases, our heated phases here. And what we're going to do is pour the water into the oil. So you always want to go water into oil, although I have done it the other way around in the past, and luckily creams and lotions are very forgiving, and for the most part it won't be affected, but you should always go oil, you should always go water into oil when you're combining. So we're going to go ahead and pour this water in here, and then we're going to get a nice blend. And you want to go ahead and blend this up for about 2 to 3 minutes to just make sure that everything is well combined. Okay, so we've been blending now for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and as you can see, I'm starting to get a very nice cream. It's still too hot to add in my cool down ingredients, but as you can see, we've got a nice stable emulsion, and we're just going to let this sit and cool down until we are ready to add in the beautiful extracts and the cool down ingredients to this recipe. And while we're waiting for that, I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of detail here about what happened with the trademark infringement. So I'm just going to give you a little snippet here because blogging and vlogging is not really my strong suit, and it is kind of off-brand for my channel to do those types of videos, but I do feel like it's going to be very helpful for people who might be going through this, or people who are starting to get to the point where they're selling a lot of product and they're naming their products. So several months ago, basically I received a letter. It was called a trademark infringement letter from another company. Now I'm not going to go into detail about the name of the product because I'll go into more detail about that in my next video, but I don't want to use my platform to boost the other company in any way. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you know that I did receive this letter from another company, not in my state, out of state, and apparently I had been infringing on their trademark with the name of my cream, which I'm also not going to be telling you. If you've been following me for a while, you guys know probably already what the name of that cream was, but I'm not going to be saying what the name is here on this video or my next video because, again, I don't want to bolster, I don't want to use my platform to bolster the other company at all. But basically, they had a trademark on the name that I was using for my under eye cream and my night cream. And we had to go through a whole process to get it settled, which I'll go into that in more detail in my next video. But that was essentially the nuts and bolts of it. And I have to say, when I first got the letter, I was floored. It was totally unintentional on my part, and I didn't actually think the name of the product was something that could be trademarked. So that is something that I learned. You can actually trademark a name or a phrase as it pertains to something that you are selling or developing. So anyway, that is the nuts and bolts of it. And again, I'll go into more detail about what we had to do to settle it. I thought when I first received the letter that it was a joke. I didn't believe that it was real, and then the more I read it, the more I thought, no, this is a pretty serious issue, and we're gonna need to deal with this. So I will definitely go into the whole story and give you that blog. I took a little informal poll on my Patreon campaign, and it is a video that my patrons are interested in watching because a lot of them I think are ready to start, or a lot of them already sell cosmetics and soaps and things like that. So I will be going into more detail about that, but in the meantime, we're going to remake this beautiful night cream. And so I am going to take the temperature And we're sitting at 109 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and start weighing off the cool down ingredients. And as it's sitting, as you can see, we're getting just a gorgeous, already thick consistency. And that will continue to thicken up as this cream sits and gets to room temperature. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and set this aside and set my stick blender aside. And we are going to start weighing off the wonderful extracts and things we're going to be adding to this cream. I might actually be needing my small scale to get some of these, my smaller scale to get some of these smaller weights here, but let's see if we can get some of them in here. So the first thing I'm going to be adding in here is some hemp seed protein. It's hydrolyzed hemp seed protein. This is a great ingredient to add to liquid shampoos, but it's also used for anti-aging and anti-wrinkle skincare products and also for hair care products, but we're using it for the anti-aging properties that it has. Hemp seed oil has really nice anti-inflammatory benefits to it. Hemp seed oil does, and so those benefits are also in the hemp seed protein. Anti-inflammatory, and it helps with skin smoothness, specifically targeting wrinkles. So we're gonna go ahead and use some beautiful hemp seed protein. I got this one from makingcosmetics.com. I've had really good luck with that company. They sell really good high quality ingredients, and they actually ship stuff pretty quickly in my experience. Now, because of this protein, our cream may turn an off-white, a little bit of an off-white color, which is okay. And if you guys are familiar with my stem cell cream, if you've ever made that one, the stem cells turn the cream a beautiful kind of off-white color. Okay. The next thing we're going to be doing, now this hemp seed protein is replacing the buckthorn extract that we used in the original recipe. I just wanted to give you guys some different ideas and some substitutions. And then also we're going to be adding in some bee pollen extract. Now, bee pollen extract is supposed to be very good also for anti-aging and skincare products in general. Studies are finding more and more now that bee pollen has a lot of really good benefits. It is antimicrobial, it's antibacterial, it's anti-aging, and this is a nice thing to add into your creams. So we're going to be using some bee pollen extract. It also has some really good anti-aging properties to it. And we are also going to be using honeyquat, and honeyquat is a honey product, but it's water soluble and it is a very, very powerful humectant. So we are using this. This is not something that I had in the original recipe as well. And we are using this in place of the carrot extract. So the original recipe had buckthorn extract, carrot extract, and cyclomethicone. And you guys had asked me a lot of replacement questions regarding the cyclomethicone in particular, because it is a silicone, even though it's a more natural silicone, because it doesn't sink into the skin, it sits on top of the skin. You guys had wanted some alternatives to the cyclomethicone. So I am using honeyquat because it's going to give the lotion a really nice, like the cyclomethicone, it's going to give it a nice glide and skin feel, but it is not a silicone. And if you wanted a vegan option for the honeyquat, you could always use glycerin. Glycerin, it does the same thing as far as drawing moisture to your skin. The honeyquat is going to act the same way. So if you wanted a vegan option, and if you didn't want to use the bee pollen extract, you could use any other type of floral extract. You can use dandelion extract, calendula extract. Those are all really, really skin loving and anti-aging. So there are some other options you can use if you wanted to keep this completely vegan. Okay, and then we're going to be adding in some vanilla infusion. That's going to give us some natural fragrance. So this is the vanilla infusion that I use. I got it from Nature's Garden. It smells very good. It's got a really nice kind of just a natural vanilla fragrance, and it is considered a natural product. So it's a good alternative to fragrance oil in your skincare line. Plus, I really, really like the smell of vanilla, and I don't mind it close to my nose on my face. Some essential oils can be a bit overpowering, I find. Okay. And then the last thing we're going to add to this is our preservative. I am using Optiphen preservative. This is a great preservative for creams, lotions, and anything that has an oil content to it. And we're using the optiphen. Okay. And we're just going to give this a good stir. Of course, some of these are oil-based and some of these are water-based, so this won't totally combine until we get it into our emulsion. We're just going to try to temporarily combine it here. I love the way that smells. Okay, so let's take a look at our cream. It's setting up very nicely. I'm just going to take a quick temperature read and make sure we're sitting at a good temperature to add our cool down ingredients. Okay, we are sitting at 98 degrees, which is perfect. We just want to be right around that 100-degree range so that we make sure the preservative is combining well, but that the cream is not too hot, that it kills off these delicate ingredients. So we're just going to go ahead and slowly pour in our cool down ingredients, and then I'm going to blend it up to combine. Okay, that'll about do it for the blending. So I do want to wait a little bit before I package this up so that you guys can see the consistency of this as it gets closer to room temperature, which in my house today is around probably 75 degrees or so. But it did blend up very nicely. And so we're just going to allow this to sit a little bit longer so I can get a good visual for you of the texture. But this is what it looks like now, and it is sitting at about 96 degrees now. So we're going to give this a few minutes, probably an hour or so really, to set up and to get to its final consistency, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to package it all up. Alright, so the cream has been sitting now for several hours. It has a beautiful consistency. It's room temperature now in my house, which is about 75 degrees. I did start placing a little bit into a piping bag, but I wanted to go ahead and show you how I'm doing that. It's actually just a gallon-sized freezer bag, and I have it draped over a big mason jar to make it easier to get it into the bag nice and neatly. And this is the texture. It has a lovely, lovely, nice kind of lightweight texture for a cream that has butters in it, but it's going to feel very, very decadent, and it'll be easy to glide onto your skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and start getting that in there. There we go. And then all I'm going to do is squish the product down to the bottom of the bag, and then we'll be ready to pipe. Okay, so I'm piping into these little 1-ounce PET containers that I got from Nature's Garden. I debated whether or not to put them in these little treatment pumps, but at the last minute I decided I was going to go ahead and put them in these just in case they get a little bit too hard to pump. I need to test these out a little bit more with a cream or a lotion type consistency. So what I'm going to do is just cut off the littlest end there, because this is going to come out fairly easy once we get going. And I'm just going to start piping these in. And there's one. Just a gorgeous anti-aging night cream. All right, here they are, looking gorgeous. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the lids on these, and then I'll give you a little bit of a product demo. Okay, so I have this little container here with just, you know, halfway full. So this is gonna be the one that I use. And I just wanted to give you a close-up of the texture so you can see what that looks like. It feels very light and airy and creamy. I can go ahead and it just goes in very smoothly. And as you can see, it has very minimal kind of white streaking that you can sometimes get with creams. It's not a super thick cream, but it feels very decadent. And again, this would be a nice comparison to the original one, because the original one does have a very pipeable, stiff consistency. I mean, it's not gonna fall out of the container or anything like that, but it's just not as thick as the other one, but a lovely, lovely texture. And actually probably would do really well in these little treatment containers. But I just want to do some more testing before I know if they work. This one has my anti-aging stem cell cream in it. Remember I was telling you about the off-white. So I want to make sure I play around with the different consistencies in these treatment containers before I recommend that. But this is a lovely consistency and it feels super good and hydrating on the skin. All right, everybody, that is how you make a beautiful anti-aging under eye and night cream. I hope you really liked this video. I hope it inspired you. If it did, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. Please leave a comment or question below. Share this video with a friend, and please remember to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you on the next video. Keep shining. Bye.